Okay, I'm Michael Kelly. I'm also one of the people with Agile PDX, and I'm here to introduce our speaker. I met Ron when he graciously volunteered to be on a panel discussion for us on mob programming. He'd been very, and I really do mean very enthusiastically recommended to us by a number of people, as not only very experienced in mob programming, but also a great Agilist. And it turned out that they were right on both counts. During the mob programming panel discussion, one of the things that came up was how well mob programming supports reteaming. And after that panel discussion, Ron came up to us and said that he would be willing to talk about his experience with that. Not only reteaming, but reteaming every 2 days. And we said, well, we have to hear more about that. And so we brought him in. And so now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Ron Quartel.
Where do I not need to be? Oh, hi. Matt, isn't it? Yes. Matt, I met at Agile Northwest. I always remember, Matt, for your analogy of street programming and car racing. Yes. Which is to say that street programming is like car racing, in that, which I learned something new about car racing, that to drive fast, the last thing you think about is putting your foot on the accelerator. What you got to do is concentrate on all the other skills of braking, turning, and all the rest of it. And you just concentrate on driving well, correctly, and then speed is just a natural outcome. Is that? Yeah, I use that a lot now, yeah. That's how I describe extreme programming. Hey, we can go fast, but it's like car racing. So welcome. That was a great introduction. That was the first part of my story of how, I was at a panel talking about mob programming, and someone asked the question, how often do you change the components within the mob? And I said, yeah, we do. And then the next question was, well, how often do you do that? What's the format? And I said, well, we actually do that every 2 days. And it kind of raised some eyebrows. And I said, I don't want to go into it because it's a big topic in itself, but I'm happy to share that another time. So this is that other time. A friend of mine said I need to tell more stories. I'm going to try and make this into a story. I've been reading a lot about Taoism recently, and there's a lot of stories from nature. So I'm going to borrow one, and just imagine your consciousness is like a stream of water flowing down a hill. And today I'm going to put some concepts into that stream. Now what I don't want to happen is for the twig to get caught on the side of the river. So if you hear something, you go, that can't be right. Say, that's not right, but let's just pretend it is for now. And just let the stick flow down the river. So just keep don't let the dam build up. Just keep the sticks flowing down the river. So yes, you can have different opinions to me, and you should, but don't hold on to them strongly. Just kind of let them go, because then by the end of the session, maybe things will start making sense. So there's my Taoist analogy. My style is very interactive, so I don't have PowerPoint. I'm more about people and interactions and the tools. So I like an interactive session, so please, if you have any questions, put your hand up. And even the format, this is my backlog, it's kind of structured and a lot more looser, because I like responding to change for the following plan. That sounds familiar too, doesn't it? So, the story starts, I guess, back in 2002, when I was a software developer in England. And we had a software manager come in, and he says, if I'm going to be a manager here, I get to do things my way. And they said, sure, you can do things your way. So it turns out his way was extreme programming. So he brought in extreme programming. And I was this little software developer. I used to sit at my desk with my headphones. As a senior software developer, people would come to me and ask me questions. And then this guy brings in extreme programming. It was the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. I hated it. What the hell is this? Why do I have to write tests? Anyway, I stuck it out. I promised myself I'll give it 6 months. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to give it 6 months. And if after 6 months, if I still hate it, I'll go somewhere else. But during that 6 months, I got it. Things started to fall in place. And not only did I get it, I said, this is the only way I ever want to work. And I stayed true to that. So since 2002, I've only ever worked in Agile environments. So that started my journey in Agile. That by 2011, I'm now an Agile coach in the United States, working with Solutions IQ, and going to visit all these different places. And it was kind of eye-opening to see what people are doing with Agile and how they're struggling with certain aspects and what we're trying to do. And around this time, Agile at scale was a big topic. By 2014, I was actually at the Scrum Gathering in New Orleans, and I was presenting a session. On the third day of that Scrum Gathering was open space. So the first 2 days were structured, the third day was open space. And I've been presenting the day before, so I was kind of feeling burnt out. So I'm just going to sit and be a butterfly. I'm not going to participate in a big way. I'm just going to be a passive participant at this open space event. So I'm sitting there just watching the whole event unfold. Now, at this point, how many of you are familiar with open space? Awesome. Good. Anyone not familiar with open space, I should say? Okay. At all? Or, okay. This could be tough for you.
That's okay.
That's all right. We'll do a little catch up on open space. So open space is also called an unconference. So the first 2 days of the conference were very structured, where you look for speakers, you open up for set speakers, you plan it, you publish the schedule. An unconference is you don't publish a schedule. You invite a bunch of people to come along, and they will create the conference. And it started by a guy called Harrison Owen, who spent a lot of time actually creating conferences. And in the feedback from the conferences, what frustrated him would be he spent so much time like getting venues and speakers and all the rest of it. And then the thing that people liked most was the conversations that they had in like by the water fountain, or the casual conversations between the sessions. And he's like, this is so frustrating that this is what people like the most. Why don't I just do a whole conference around that? And so he came up with this idea of an open space conference. So an open space conference, people will show up, and now there's a topic I'm really passionate about. So I might say, hey, I want to share this information. Or there's a topic I want to know more about. And I'll say, I really need to understand more about this. If anyone can come and help me, please come and help me. So these are different ways that sessions will happen. So there's part of the day starts with a marketplace where people will get up and say, hey, this is what I want to talk about. And there's a grid pattern here with spaces and times. And so this fills up. This is how we fill up the marketplace. And then you, as an attendee, you look at the marketplace and you go, well, I'm most interested in this one, this one, this one, and this one. And so that's how you spend the day. So the conference is formed dynamically, happens at the beginning of the day, and it's the participants create the day. So that's open space in a nutshell. So I'm at this open space conference. I've been to several before, through Pacific Open Northwest, in fact. That was my introduction to open space. And I'm sitting back watching. I think there were 800 people at this event. And then 20 minutes later, we've got the marketplace populated. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. In 20 minutes, 800 people self-organized a one-day event. And I described the moment as the Agile gods came down, man. 800 people self-organized in 20 minutes. And this is when all this discussion was around Agile at scale. And I kind of stayed away from it because it didn't gel right with me. So I spent most of my time working with teams. I was very used to that environment, like helping teams with extreme programming, helping them with pair programming, extreme programming practices, getting them up to speed on Scrum. All that stuff I was really good at, and I was very comfortable in that space. But the scaling stuff, I was just kind of watching it from a distance, like taking it in bit by bit. And then this stuff, and I went, wow, this is really agile. Self-organization. Why aren't we using this for Agile at scale? And that was the very seed of the beginning of the seed of an idea of something that I then built on. By 2015, I actually packaged it all together. And it was still just an idea. And I went and presented it at a conference in Utah. I called it Fast Agile. I like whiteboards. Thank you for giving me a whiteboard. The whiteboard this way. All right. AST is Agile Scaling Technology. I have to call it something, right? But all the other, well, there's a lot of popular scaling frameworks right now. And they all have a 4-letter acronym, so I'm like, I have to add a 4th letter in there somewhere. I think this thing could produce software faster than anything else on the planet. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to call this Fast Agile Scaling Technology. It's kind of geeky because then it becomes recursive. So that's why it's called Fast. So that was just an idea. So a couple of years later, I went and joined Primera. And if we've got time, we can show you some pictures of Primera. I didn't join Primera to do anything with Fast. I joined Primera because they were on a mission to do things differently. They were recruiting code craftsmen, and I'm like, you guys are serious? I'm there. Like, let's do this. Let's make this amazing. So we're building this team of craftsmen. And within my first weeks, I hadn't even written any code yet. They were recruiting for a Scrum Master. I said to my manager, hey, can I help recruit the Scrum Master? Because if we get that wrong, it's not going to go well. And he said, sure, you can pick the Scrum Master. So I was doing interviewing. Couldn't find one that I liked. I said, hey, look, I'll fill in for the Scrum Master role until we find someone else. He said, sure. So now I've gone from developer to Scrum Master. So now I'm Scrum Master for the team. We've got one product at this point. We're taking on a second product. The next product is really sexy. Hey, we're going into mobile. All right, so everyone's going, yeah, we get mobile. It's going to be great. We're going into mobile. So we now need another Scrum Master. I actually found someone internally, so then I started training Scrum Master up. And now we've got two, so we're growing one team and we're getting more people in, we're getting ready to take on this new product. So now the question is, hey, we've now got 2 products and 1 team, what do we do? So what do? You split the teams, right? So at this point I want you to let that stick float down the river. Because we said, what if we didn't split the teams? Because how do you split the team? Because you've got the sexy product here, and then you've got the old product, legacy product, versus sexy new greenfield product, which everyone wants to work on. So we said, well, what if we had a marketplace where people could move between the products, and we could flex teams? Because what if all of a sudden we need something, we need lots more stuff that happens here, we can have more people here at one point, and then things settle back down and they can go to some sort of balance and people can shift and move around and then get new skills and understand both products. And we're talking about promiscuous pair programming just before, and how that lets you understand the entire code base because you keep moving around. So we said, why don't we try that? And we didn't have any deadlines, and we said, we'll run it as an experiment for a month. And if it doesn't work, we can go back to the old Scrum pattern, right? Of one product, one team. That's easy. We know how to do that. Doing the easy thing is easy. Doing something new is harder and risky, but we had the space, right? When the boss is okay with it, he goes, sure. So I said, hey, what do you guys think? Do you want to run an experiment? So this isn't me implementing FAST. This is just me implementing part of FAST, which is the marketplace based on open space. So I started looking at open space, and we started. So that was the birth of this idea, like, hey, how about doing this marketplace for work? I want to talk a little bit about open space because I did some research into it before we got here. Open space works really well under these certain circumstances. When, anyone know what they are? There's 2 C's and 2 D's. Open space works best when there's a lot of complexity. When the risk of conflict is high. When there's diversity. Speakers in pool.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, right. Diversity. And it was due yesterday. Now, does that sound like every software product we dream of?
I personally love doing this.
So this is what open space excels at. So open space isn't just for conferences, that's where most people are first exposed to it, but you can use it for other things as well. So I started reading a lot about it. The other thing that open space has been described as passion bounded by responsibility, intentional self-organization, spirit at work, chaos and creativity, evolution in organization, and a simple and powerful way to get people and organizations moving. I mean, this sounds amazing, right? Give me some of that. And this sounds very agile. It felt very agile to me. So I'm like, how can we use open space as a way of facilitating an agile environment? So an open space conference, an unconference, is a way where we're organizing people around ideas or around concepts. And so I was thinking, how do we use it as a way of organizing people around work? So in the morning, the product director, I tried to not use Scrum terms on purpose to try and keep the river flowing. Right? So think of product owner, product director. So product director will get up in the morning and I'll have a story map here. And this will represent what he's doing in this release. And the product director will say, well, here's the new stuff that's going up, this is my highest priority, and I really like what's going on over here. We've got someone coming in next week, they're going to want to look at these things here, can we make sure that that's done? So I set some kind of priorities. At that point we go. And then we go into Marketplace. And so I create a space. Now in Marketplace, we open up for natural leadership or emergent leadership. So at an open space event, anyone that stands up and says, hey, I want to facilitate an event, that shows natural leadership. So this is an environment that fosters natural leadership. So we're trying to limit WIP. And my original vision was, you don't have to use this as a scaling method, but my original vision was, I don't know if you have development rooms here, or you've got team 1 here, team 2 here, team 3 here, team 4 here. So my vision was, we limit WIP to 4, and those 4 rooms are the 4 teams that we're going to have. And we say, okay, go. And the first 4 people that get up to say, all right, here's what I'm going to do. Well, yeah, you mentioned that feature, I'm going to go work on that feature. I'm going to be in room 1. Someone else says, well, I left a bunch of tech debt behind, I'm going to go clean that up and do some bunch of refactoring. You'll be able to. Someone else says, well, I'm noticing a common pattern here coming out here. I think there's some common components that we can pull out. I'll be over in room 3. And then person else says, well, I'm going to continue on that feature I started last time. I'm going to be in room 4. So they were the first 4 people that got up. That's what we're doing. So everyone else then, they didn't get up, they look at that and you go, which session should I go into today or for this next iteration? And you look at that and you go, well, now there's multiple reasons to go into each session. One is, I've been working on this feature, I want to see it through. Sure, so I'll go into that feature. One is, Mike is a really awesome software developer. I've heard he's got crazy good skills. Mike's over there. I'm going to go on that team because I want to learn from Mike. So, or I've been doing back-end development so long. I really want to learn more about front-end development. This story here has got more on front-end. I'm going to go over here. So there's multiple reasons why you might go to each different session. So this is self-selection, right? So this is an open space that allows for self-selection. And I had a great conversation with. Who did I have the conversation with? New Relic. Brent Miller, yes. I met Brent at Agile in 2019. And I watched the video on the self-selecting teams. I'm like, that's so awesome. I said, have you done it again? He goes, no, it's just a one-time thing. And I didn't say anything, but I love that video. And that the reasons where people, and you were at New Relic during this period, right? And one of the comments that we heard was the reason that people chose a team, it was a surprise to some people. Like, who would have thought they would go on that team? But there was, and they would even go to teams where they were just challenging themselves. And this is what we want you to do in this environment. We want you to challenge yourself. So we want you to be T-shaped. It's very important to be T-shaped and to challenge yourself. So we started with this experiment. So there was a vision of what it could be, and then the actuality of now we've got 2 product lines and 1 big team, and we can see how it goes. So the next question there we've got is, how big, well, what questions do you have at this point? Do you have any questions?
What does OST stand for?
Open Space Technology.
Okay.
So the question was, what does OST stand for? Yeah, Open Space Technology. And that's the T here is Open Space Technology. So is anyone thinking how big is the team? Because this is the questions we started coming up. How big is the team? What work do they pull in? What does the backlog look like? And how often do they meet? Any other questions? So, how big is the team? Right? Because now we say, what happens if no one shows up to this one? And everyone wants to do this one. So one of the rules was all code had to be per program. All production code is per program. Because we're an XP shop, we started out as an XP shop. So that's non-negotiable. So at minimum, we'd have a pair. But we'd have these teams come up. Then the next question is, well, when do we come back and do this again? And I was thinking about this, and the Agile Manifesto talks about the short release cycle. What are the exact words? With the tendency towards shorter cycles. Look at us. We should know something. Yeah, the tendency towards a short time frame, right? So I'm like, okay, well, how short time frame can we push it? So I come from my early extreme programming days. We were doing 1-week releases, so I knew that was doable. But also knew, as an extreme programmer, pair programming, if I picked something up and we go, hey, we're going to pair on it. If we didn't get that thing done in 2 days, there's something wrong, right? So most stories that get done in 2 days, sometimes 3, sometimes 1, but on average it was around 2 days to get story time by a pair. So I thought, well, why don't we go for 2 days? Because then people should have something done by 2 days. So the idea is when they come back after 2 days, they go, hey, here's what I did. We got something done. So anything less than 2 days, might be. So we came up with 2 days. We just picked it out of the air. And we actually did it for 2 days. The comment came up like, maybe we should try a longer iteration cycle. So we actually did. But we didn't change things willy-nilly. I used some strange expressions. If you don't understand what they mean, just shout. Willy-nilly. You know what that means?
Yep.
Good. All right. We don't change things willy-nilly. So we'll do everything as an experiment. So we'll do things for 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and then we'll say, okay, let's try a 1 week iteration. So then we moved to 1 week iteration, and then it turns out everyone much preferred the 2 days, so we actually went back to 2 days. So that turned out to be the preferred iteration length. So what happens after 2 days is you get back, so before we go back into starting the next iteration, we close out the previous iteration. We close out the previous iteration with show and tell. So it's not a demonstration. It's a synchronization point between the tribe. So everyone in that room becomes a tribe. Now, tribe grew to about 50 people at its largest. We've actually got, at Primera, there's 2 tribes right now. But at the largest, the tribe is 50 people. So you're not there to give a demo and you're not there to sign work off. You're there to keep everyone in sync. So it's more like a stand-up, right? Because that's the point of the stand-up. So it's more like a stand-up where you say, hey, I was working on this, and in fact, I can do a quick, I can show you what we did. Now, if I do, there's extra points for showing some software. So I'll get something up on the screen. We go, we changed this. This is there. This is there. Now, you're doing it at the point of, I just want everyone to understand what the current state of the system is. That's it. So every 2 days, everyone is aware of what the current state of the system is. And so it goes pretty quick, and that's the whole goal of it. So we do show and tell. The product owner is there and listens to what's going on. We finish show and tell, and we clear the marketplace off, and then we go back into the next iteration. That's the process. Any questions? So there's some cool things that we found doing this, and there's some frustrating things we found as well. One of the cool things we found is that we're optimizing for flow over optimizing for resources. I'm going to borrow this from, anyone know Fred George? Yeah? And he created this thing called Programmer Anarchy. This has actually got product common with Programmer Anarchy. So if this is time down here, and this is people. So in a regular Scrum, you would have a team. This might represent 6 people, and they're working on A, team's working on B, and you take work to the team, right? So work looks like this. Right? This will represent 4 teams. Now, sometimes you've got to synchronize work between them, so this becomes program management, becomes managing. How do you manage? What's the big challenge in scaled Agile? Managing dependencies, right? Oh, that needs to happen before this, A before C before B, right? So you've got to manage all those dependencies. So this is Scrum Agile at scale. So what we found is if you can put people into teams, that problem falls away. Because if you get the marketplace, and you go, hey, I'm going to be working on this. Someone else says, I'm going to be working on that. And if there's an association with these 2 stories, features, epics, product backlog items. If there's an association with those two, the very first thing you would do after marketplace is to say, hey, we better go talk to those guys because we're going to clash. so we go over there and go, hey, let's have a discussion because we're going to clash. We're thinking of doing blah, blah, blah. And you go, oh yeah, we're thinking of doing this. So we have this discussion, we go, right, this code goes here in the database, and we'll come up with an architectural discussion. You go, is that a good idea? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. All right, well, if we start over here, why don't we do this? You guys okay doing that? Yeah, in fact, here, take a couple of people over here, they'll come over there. So we now got 8 people here and 4 here, we're excited about 6. No, so we just meet and we have, so this is just in time emergent design happening. So we'll have an architectural discussion, we might take a photo of that, put that on the wiki, and then we go back to our rooms and then we go away. So that's how we kind of handle dependency. Or we go, you know what, it doesn't make any sense to do this at all. Why don't we just let those guys do that? What do you do in that case?
Pick up another story.
Pick up something else. Yeah. And so this is it. Like, you're an adult. Like, hey, there's plenty of work there. Go pick something else. Or and they go, oh, maybe there isn't anything else. You go, okay, well, if there's nothing else, what do you do then? You go to one of the goes, yeah, go help someone else, right? And now remember there's different reasons to go into those teams, right? You go, oh, I'm not even interested in any of those. They go, okay, we'll go pretend to be interested, right? Well, not really, but like work on your T-shirt, right? Go pair with someone else and learn something new. So, I mean, that was the thing, just do the right thing. So the rules are do the right thing and be an adult.
So when you have one person, nobody wanted to join them.
Yeah.
They can't do their thing because they can't pair.
Correct, yeah.
So they go and join somebody else.
Yeah.
That work item then gets sort of.
Yeah, what happens to that work item?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
That's the first item to be done next time, but.
Well, maybe.
So could you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the question was, what happens if someone says, hey, I'm going to work on this thing here, and no one shows up to your room. So you're the solution.
You're doing the legacy bug fixes.
yeah. Work on the legacy bug fixes, right? Because the product owner said it's important, right? Or you know it's important. So you do that. No one else shows up. What do you do? So 2 things can happen at that point. So at the end of marketplace, the product director has some veto power, and we don't like to use it because we like to treat people like adults and expect them to do the right thing. But the product director could say, Tom, how important is it to do this? Your name's Tom, right?
Sure.
Tom, how important? And Tom goes, this is really important because, you know, it's cost of delay is $2 million. Super important. So the product director goes, all right, I need someone. How many people do you need, Tom? And he's like, I need at least 3 other people. All right, I need 3 people to join Tom. Who's going to join Tom? And then I'll wait for 3 people. And I'll wait for 3 people. So, and then that's it. So people come along, and then we go, great, this is good, let's go. So the product only has some veto and can adjust things at the end. Or, if it's not important, Tom go, yeah, you know, it's not important. Product owner can go, great. If it isn't, rather than leave that whole spot, I think I really like this one here to get done. Who can take this? You can. So there's some adjustments that we do, but it's rare. Because you guys are adults, and I trust you to do the right thing. So there's a lot of trust. And we've got people saying, this is the only way I want to work with you. And it's like, I'm being treated like an adult at work. So it's very empowering.
How does this differ from the Valve approach?
Question, how does this differ from Valve? That's a really good question. And I actually went to visit Valve, because they're in Bellevue. And they don't do tours, but if you know someone there, you can... Anyway, so I managed to get on a tour of Valve. And Valve is open allocations. It's a flat organization. There are no managers. And in an open allocation system, you decide, Valve's really cool. I like it a lot. So if you join Valve, you get there and you say, what do you want me to do? And they're like, what do you want to do? And you go, I don't know, what do you guys do? And they'll say, well, go find out what we do. Step one, right? So you go around the company, look at what everyone does, find out what the thing you like doing, and you say, hey, can I help you guys here? And they say, sure, and there's your team. So that's how it works at Valve. And if you've got an idea, you go, hey, I've got this great idea, we should do this thing. And they'll go, well, go do it then. You go, but I need a team. And they say, well, go find a team. So now you have to learn to be a leader and how to recruit people and how to convince others on joining you. And if you can do that, then you get a team. Right? So you've got to start learning how to influence people. So that's how open allocation works. So this is very similar to open allocation, but it's structured. So think of open allocation as structure. And I think that's what I like about it, is open space is intentional self-organization, right? Because it's got the freedom of open allocation, but it's got some structure to it as well. So does that answer your question? Yeah. Any other questions at this point?
Yeah, it seems like you really want good stories
So
and a good supply of them, and it seems like, and you're going to be churning through them.
Yeah. So the comment was, it seems like you're going to want good stories and a good supply of them, and you're going to be churning through them. So yes, you do need a healthy backlog of work.
Did you have any problems with that?
Now, hold that thought, because remember in the beginning I said we've got a story map here? So at the small scale, when we started dealing with the small scale, so there was like a Scrum size team, it worked with stories and a story map. As it started growing, that didn't work so well. We actually came up with a different pattern. So if there's time, I'm going to get onto that, because that's really, really cool. How we break down stories just enough and just in time. So essentially the story map is just, we call it feature map, because we don't want stories there. So we just put features up. We go, all right, imagine this, it's a greenfield product, and we go, this is these 5 features, and there's this security aspect to it, and this legal aspect to it, and whatever. So we capture everything that way, and then we say, go. Well, how are you supposed to do that, right? It's a feature. So I'll say, all right, well, I'm going to work on that feature, and I'm going to be over in room D. So what do you do if you're going to work on a feature? If you say, I'm going to work on that, and there's 8 people show up with you, and you go to a room, what do you do? And you've got 2 days. You're not going to deliver this feature.
Yeah,
what do you do?
You're going to break it down.
You're going to break it down. So you're going to grab the product owner, or you'll say the product director, say, hey, who are the stakeholders I need? Great, so you get the stakeholders, the product director, and you sit there and you go, tell me about this feature. And you talk to it, and you go, okay, well that sounds like this, right? That feature sounds like these, I had these 5 things. Does that sound correct? You could think of these as epics. Let's use that word momentarily. I'll let my stick get caught. It's not one of my favorite words. So let's call these epics at the moment. This is feature epic. Don't get caught up on the words, because people will go, oh, epic is above feature. These are sticks getting caught in the river. Just let it go for a moment. This is bigger thing, this is less bigger thing, right? I think that's why I don't like these words. Is that correct? And I say, yeah, that's correct. Great. Now what do you do? We've still got like a day and a half left. We're not going to get all this done. So you go, well, if we're going to start on something, probably that one would make the most sense to start on. Tell me about that one. So you still got them there, and they start talking to you, and you go, all right, so what I heard was, it sounds like this. So what are you doing? You're breaking down stories, right? Now I'm breaking an epic down into a story. Does that sound correct? Oh yeah, that's correct. So now we've got 4 stories. And then we say, all right, where do we start? Well, I think we should probably start with this one. Okay, we can't get that one done in 2 days. So what do? We break this down. But I think we can get this done. With the amount of people we've got here and the amount of time we've got left, I think we can get this done. So we're breaking down work just enough, just in time. This is really, really lean. Yeah. And we keep this. So this is called the feature tree, and then this thing here becomes a feature map, and each feature has its own feature map. This is what we discovered, and it works all by itself. You can use feature mapping. You don't have to do fast to use feature mapping. It's going to be another talk I give later on, because we discovered it, and this is so freaking amazing. But this is lean. This is a very lean way of working, and so we'll work on that. So when we get to show and tell, we go, all right, I was working on this feature, we broke it down, and you describe this path. Now every story has a context too. Once it's in a feature tree, every story has a context, which I feel is missing when you represent the Scrum backlog. Looks like this, right? There's no context to any of those stories. There's a priority to them, but there's no context. But there's always a context. Right? This story is part of this epic, part of this feature, which is part of this release. This feature is done when these are done. This one's done when these are done. This one's done when these are done. And we started this one, we got to the end of the day, we finished that one, we actually started on this one. So now I've got some very visual, I can say, hey, we've got this done here, we're about halfway through. So I can look at that and go, we're about halfway through. So that's how we manage the backlog.
We kind of touched on this earlier, but I'm curious how in OST you deal with an escalated issue that comes up that's really big, that might take a lot of people to work on and has like a pretty quick deadline. How do you work on that?
So the question is, how do you work on an escalated issue in this environment? So one of the nice things with 2-day iterations is hopefully I can wait to the next iteration boundary. So you get to the iteration boundary and the product director says, this is an urgent issue, it's this is number 1, it's going to go here, go. Right? So you can say, hey, this is urgent, and people are going to do the right thing. And then you got the veto of like no one going on it, and you go, hey, this is my most urgent thing, who's going to do it? We're not going to start until there's people on this. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah?
To that, I can imagine somebody breaking that out into a feature tree, and then you have, instead of the one item, you have the product director is saying, well, these 4 items are part of this epic, and this is what we have to work on next. Is that sort of...
That could happen. Yeah, if this is an urgent feature, then it breaks down. And I think part of that is then how big is it, right? So if you start breaking it down, then you can have some idea how big it is. We came up with a really neat way of forecasting too. And if you want to go there, you can ask me, how do you guys forecast? But otherwise I won't mention it. But right now, most of the time, 90% of the time we've been doing no estimates and no forecasting, but we did find a way to forecast as well. Because how do you forecast? Because you don't have teams, and this is why I was scratching my head, because you don't have consistent teams. So who's going to do the sizing? Who's going to do the forecasting? Because in Scrum they say the team that works on it should do the forecasting. And let me take you on the side here, because I've done some research. You know the guys Daniel Kahneman and Thinking Fast and Slow? Yeah, so they've discovered this thing called the planning fallacy. So there's a known bias of if you, it's called the estimation bias, which means the estimation bias says anyone estimating their own work will have a natural tendency to underestimate it. It's a known bias. So why is it that we say estimation has to be done by the team that does the work? That turns out to be the dumbest thing ever. And yet we still do it. Right? Is it any wonder that we still bang our heads against this estimation thing? Given that's a known bias, right? The planning fallacy. Go look that one up. Turns out that a team not working on on that work is better at forecasting it than the team that's in the work. I've yet to see that anyone doing that in Agile. Hey, this needs estimate. What do you have?
Less Framework has representatives across
Across
an area, so
that's
not
pretty
necessarily
neat.
the team working on it.
There's a lot of stuff in Less that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, aside, I got into estimation. But did that answer your question? Breaking it down?
So you literally end up with the big post-it sheets with a feature map on it?
Yeah, there's a feature map that goes to sheet. I want to talk about team of teams. So I did a lot of reading when I was kind of formulating this. And one book that well, there's a couple books that came up. One, you might recognize this one, Drive by Daniel Pink. Let's do this one really quickly, I just mentioned it. So what makes people work? Anyone read Drive by Daniel Pink? Really good book. So he looked at what makes people work. They work for these three reasons: for autonomy, mastery, and purpose. If they have that, that's when you'll get their highest performance and their most personal satisfaction. So I'm trying to create an environment like this. And can you see how that? So when you come to work, we go, hey, here's what we want you to do. So there's a purpose, right? Like a shared vision. You've got autonomy. Go pick what you want to work on. And mastery, like, hey, go work on your cheat sheet. And in fact, at Primera, we spend a lot of time on mastery. We actually take time out to work on in our deals and craftsmanship. So that was a big part of it. So that plays a big part into what we do. And then the other part was team of teams. Anyone read Team of Teams? General Crystal McCarthy?
It's Daniel McChrystal.
General McChrystal, there we go. There's a way to mess it up, I'll find it. So General McChrystal. Interesting story. So General McChrystal is in the military, right? The military is highly hierarchical, right? Central command and control. They're in Afghanistan, I believe the story goes, and they're losing the war because they can't win by a central control because they're used to fighting an enemy that's central control. So to fight an enemy with central control, you just knock the head out and then that's it. But there's no head to knock out, so they don't know how to fight this enemy. So this enemy has got distributed decision making. So he says, we've got to switch to a mode of distributed decision making. So this is what we do now, where we have a cross-functional team reporting to a dev manager. Right, so this is what a lot of organizations look like. This is your Agile organization. This is what he would call a command of teams. And the challenge with this is these are highly siloed. Right? And so this is where I need the stick to flow down the stream, because we've been told like teams have to stay together. And in a way, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to teams staying together because you get the cohesion kind of builds up. But this is what General Crystal calls a command of teams. And he said, why don't we try something different and we'll go to a command of teams. And so a team of teams. And so what happens in team of teams is those people there are now so things start linking across more like this. And teams would form dynamically around, all right, we've got this situation here, who have we got? And we'll say we need 3 Navy SEALs and someone that knows how to drive a tank and I don't know what. We need a tank specialist and a diver, I don't know, bomb guy. And here we go. So then we'll dynamically form this team, right? And then they go out and sort that issue out. And then, hey, we've got this issue here. And so instead of like the Navy SEALs not talking to the commandos, not talking to the Green Berets, like now they would form truly cross-functional teams. So when we talk cross-functional here, this is cross-functional and siloed. Where I'm trying to break the silos and say, let's go truly cross-functional. I want to use an analogy here, or story. Anyone been to a hackathon? Yeah. So what happens at a hackathon? You get a bunch of people, show up for a day, or 2 days, all excited, right? And then you get people to stand up and go, all right, yeah, here's what I want to do. I want to work on this thing. It sounds a lot like what we're doing here, right? Someone says, I'm going to work on this thing. And then the people in the audience go, oh, that sounds cool. I'm going to go to that one. So they go show up, and they're going to work on Bob's thing because they're excited about Bob's thing. Here's a group of people that have never met each other, probably, or the ones I've been to. They've never met each other. It's a brand new product they just heard about that day. They get there, and in the next 2 days, they work on it, and what do? Damn it if they don't produce working software, right, every single time. Damn it if they don't actually form a team, right? It works. I'm like, wow, this is like, so what we're doing here is a continuous hackathon. So people can form teams dynamically and gel. Storming, norming, performing. Anyone familiar with that? Is it true? What study and research has been put into it? Has anyone looked into that one? It's actually, it's now getting questioned a lot. Storming, norming, performing is Tucker, right? Tuckman model. So that is one theory of group dynamics. And if you go to Wikipedia, look up group dynamics, there's other theories of group dynamics as well. But for some reason, in the Agile world, we've landed on that one, and that one's true. And I think we're at this point in Agile where we're holding things too tightly into things that are true, and they're not true. I think we need to question things more. And this is why I was mentioning about estimation. Like, well, actually, there's a study that says that, right, I think we need to start thinking, questioning things more. Because maybe storming, norming, performing isn't all we're thinking about. Because why do hackathons work? Why is it that a group of people who have never been put together, never met each other, can create working software after 2 days? Why does that work? And those people come out and they're best of friends. Like, so maybe there is more at play in that work here, and it is okay to switch people around. Heidi Helfand has done a lot of work on dynamic reteaming. Yeah, and so there is reasons to move people in and out, and self-forming teams is one reason.
So if you're hiring people, how do you know what people need to be added to the mix to have the best outcomes?
Yeah, so the question was, how do you hire into that mix for the best outcomes? So hiring, I think the answer, so one of my Agile journey, I was a dev manager for a while, and my favorite hiring technique was, I love taking in juniors, because senior developers are just a pain in the butt. They come with these cute egos, and when they're good, but when they're bad, they're rotten, kind of. Whereas you get these juniors, they just want to learn, right? And so that's what I loved about them. Like they come in, and I could get a junior up to 80% the capacity of a senior guy within 6 months through pair programming and more programming. I'll come back to more programming. So really I'm looking for eager to learn, hungry to learn, and good team fit. That's all I'm looking for. If you can program great, you have to have some technical ability, but really looking for team fit and willingness to learn. And this isn't for everyone. So I'd say come in, spend a day with us, sit in a mock, do some pair programming, and then tell us what you think. And then the people that you mob with will ask them and say, what do you think? Would you want them here? And if all that works, then yeah, then we'll hire them.
So in relationship to, let's see, self-organization, productivity,
Have you muted?
Yeah, I did.
Oh.
And so press the mute button.
All right, there we are. So I would say the expense is the dynamic nature of teams where you have a lot of social cohesion is lost with like the fast adaptation to different teams.
Yeah.
So do you have to have more emphasis on the tribe level to form the container for social cohesion in terms of like the team and culture? Is there more emphasis on more than the greater tribe of the story that we're holding as the greater team together?
Yeah, yes. There's a lot of emphasis on the tribe and the culture, because the tribe will actually start forming its own culture. So, yeah, so you're always looking at the tribe one, is the answer. And on cohesion, I want to talk about Conway's Law. What's Conway's Law?
Your code looks like your product would look, your code looks like how your teams are structured.
Yeah, your code will look out like how your teams are structured. All right, so how have we structured our team? Highly cohesive and loosely coupled, right? And what does good code look like? Highly cohesive and loosely coupled. What does this look like? Highly siloed, high cohesion, but highly siloed. Isn't that what our code is looking like? Yeah? So in Team of Teams, we're going, maybe this is, yeah. So Conway's Law, or reverse Conway's Law. I don't know if it's true yet, but it certainly feels that way. And we've got a big push on software craftsmanship. So in wrapping up, and quickly look at my backlog, is there anything important that I want us to talk about? Self-organization and self-management. Yes, I think this is where I want to close. So self-organization, so we're talking about self-organization here, right? This is a tribe that self-organizes at scale. Self-organization very quickly bumps up against self-management. In fact, there's no distinct line, right? It gets kind of fuzzy in the middle. And so you've got to kind of start working out where that becomes clear. This isn't for everyone. This isn't for everyone. Not everyone can work in this environment, which kind of was an eye-opener for me, because this is I created an environment that I want to work in. So I was kind of selfish. I'm like, this is what I want to do. And I'm glad to hear that other people liked it, and they're actually still doing it. I'm not there anymore, but it's still going. But what made me sad is that it's not for everyone, and that there's people that have been so conditioned, have worked so long in prior to this, like command and control, highly command and control environments, that they're not used to. They don't know what to do when you could say, hey, what do you think you should do? What do you want to do? They can't. They're not ready for that yet. So there's a leap there, and that's why I kind of made it my personal goal, in my personal mission in life now, is to unleash the human spirit in the workplace. And this is my way of doing that. This is my way of saying, hey, this is an environment where people are unleashed. They're free to be adults. Because why is it outside of work we can be adults? We're all adults outside of work, right? No one tells you what to wear. No one tells you when to drop your kids at school or all that kind of stuff. We do that. But as soon as you get into work, why is it that we switch back into this mode when we're kids and we have to, we don't begin to do? And it's not all of us. But this is kind of what I want for everyone, to unleash the human spirit in the workplace. And that's my goal in life now. And I'm hoping to do that through this framework. So thank you. Any other questions, please ask me afterwards.
Okay. So, yes. Awesome. So, do you have any sense whether or not different floor plans work better with this? Open.
Oh, floor plans, yes. So that's a really good question. So the constraints of doing this are co-location, right? You got to be co-located. I think. I haven't tried distributed. I don't know how it would work. So you can work it out, maybe. But my assumption was co-location. So I could see an environment like this room that we're in. Hey, this is where we're going to hold the fast meeting. So that meeting is called the fast meeting. There's only one meeting in this whole system. It's the fast meeting, right? Where we open iteration proposal. So something like this, where we've got all of the tribe needs. The theoretical maximum size of a tribe is 150. 150 is Dunbar's number, right? There's a lot of research that's been done. After 150, things start falling apart. Look at Gore, company Gore. They will only scale in lots of 150. So we've got 150 people. 150 people meet here, and then they go into their separate development areas. And you need to limit WIP, because if you don't, that's the other thing I found out, if you don't limit WIP, it gets really wide, because people go, well, I'll do this, I'll pair on this, I'll pair on this, and you got to go, no, we need a little more. So limit WIP. So this would be an ideal floor for, I don't know how many dev rooms you've got, but if there's 150 people here, and you had like 9, 10 dev rooms, you've got ideal fast setup right here.
I was just nodding.
Cool.
I was going to ask, what are some of the fail points to watch out for?
What are the fail points?
Right, what are some of the fail points that might happen?
The first thing you need to do, this is what I found out in Agile, because we didn't do it first. The first thing you need to do is to create safety. So you need to decide as a tribe, because you're going to so remember I said self-organization goes very quickly into self-management. So as a tribe, you've got to decide, how do we make decisions? As a tribe, how are we going to make decisions? You got to work that out. As a tribe, how do we resolve conflict? And you got to work that out, because you're going to hit both of those really, really quick. And remember, we're trying to move away from command and control. So sure, if you as a tribe say we want to abdicate that to the boss, that's your decision. Okay, all right, we're going to resolve conflict by, Dad, can you solve this? She said that. Okay, right? I exaggerate a bit. We can kind of tell that's not my favorite approach, right? So how do adults resolve conflict, right? You don't get into a punch up, but so how do you work it out? And I love the story. I'm going to share the story from, because I heard someone else ask this from, I don't remember the names. Tomato Place in California, Morningstar, and his name is escaping me. Someone asked him the same question. He goes, that's easy. Okay, so the first, how we resolve conflict is, so at Morningstar there's no managers, zip. So how do they resolve conflict in that environment? Because there is no manager to go and say, hey, what should we do? So they have to resolve it amongst themselves. So the first thing is, we've got a problem. So, hey, let's go into a room and have a discussion. If we can't resolve it, then we'll go, all right, let's get a mediator. So then we get a mediator. And then with mediation, we'll try and resolve it. If we still can't resolve it, then it goes to a panel. And then so you and I will go, I think yes. And you go, no, he's a rat bag, he should be this, right? And then the panel will hear it, and they make a decision, that's it, that's the decision that's coming. So sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't, but whatever it is, that's it. So you got to agree and carry on. So that's what they did at Morningstar. Hopefully I've told it right, but something like that. Yeah. So you got to come up with whatever it is you do. We're going to have a jury. Great, have a jury. We're going to flip a coin, whatever it is. But you got to decide that's how we do it. So you got to create that safety. So how to make a decision, how to resolve a decision. How do you then change it? Because now you've made laws and bylaws. How do you change those? And how do you change those? So now you're moving into self-government. But you need that to work as a tribe. Self-organizing tribe, you need some level of self-government still. And that creates a safe environment, right? Psychological safety and emotional safety. And you need that. Answer your question? Cool. I've got a bunch of photos from Primera. I can show you guys later. And see how it works. It's kind of fun. And yeah, any other questions? Just here's my Twitter. I tweet about lots of things. This is just one of them. Actually, there's a separate Twitter account just for Fast. Someone took Fast Agile So I have fast software. No, I didn't. I changed it. It's open space agile. Open space agile. So that is where I tweet about fast. My own stuff I just tweet about. Anything else other than fast. Because I don't want it, I mean, just because I'm the inventor of it, I'm not the only person who wants to talk about it, so there's other people talking about stuff. I want to open the conversation on it too.
All right, thank you very much, Ron. Everyone,